Yeah, so having met Howie and Auntie Esme, we I think we played together in the trials, and well, we both were selected in the junior Kiwi team, along with Maury Church, or Graham Church, who is the son of Maury Church, who was an ex-Kiwi, and he was one of the selectors. I like to think that we all got in because of our performances on the field, and not because we were favourite players or people of Maury Church. And Maury's son, Graham. But yep, the Howie and I both got into the junior Kiwis that year, and with me, I guess I went on to gain the Wellington best and fairest player that year, junior Kiwi. No, sorry, it was the Petone club player of the year award, junior Kiwi, and the Wellington best and most improved, I guess, award. The provincial stuff. Once selected to play for Wellington, we had matches against Taranaki and Canterbury and West Coast, Waikato, Bay of Plenty, and they were pretty good educational games or journeys. Some of the trips were long and arduous, bus journeys, bus rides. We didn't often fly into Taranaki. We always had to jump on the damn bus and drive up there. And it was the same with Waikato. If we had to play up there, it was always on a bloody bus. And then Bay of Plenty, on the odd time that we played them, it was also on a bus. We were lucky when we went up to Auckland to fly up there and stay. We thought it was flash. Stay in motels. So it was a great experience in terms of learning this new game, developing new skills, and then having the wonderful experience of flying or travelling away in a team environment, working with each other, working for each other, both on and off the field, looking after each other. But still, for a lot of the years, the early years that I was in Wellington, I was still the young boy, and the young boy who didn't drink or smoke. I think it may have been in Greymouth, or we were on the train from Christchurch going across to Greymouth to play West Coast, and it was a couple of the boys thought they'd be clever, and they locked me into, and I'd say they were the big boys, the old heads. A couple of them grabbed me and held me in the seat, and another one poured a bottle of beer down my throat. As much as I didn't like it, I couldn't do anything about it. And they thought it was a great joke. I didn't forget it. But I knew that before the journey had ended, that they would be pretty pissed and that I'd be able to get my revenge, especially on the guy who poured the bottle down my throat. And he was one of the boys that I played with at Randwick before I flew out of New Zealand out to England. And Ki Tiriki, I never forgot. So Ki gladly shoved the bottle down my throat. But anyway, as we were getting closer to the coast, closer to the west coast, and the train stopped, as you do to try and work out how you're going to get your revenge. I was scheming, I was really annoyed, pissed off, in fact. So, being I wouldn't say, just really mad that they could do that to me. I grabbed one of their, on the trip, I grabbed one of their bottles of beer, and I tipped half of it out and I pissed in the other half. And so before we got to the end, or before we got to Greymouth, I was keeping an eye on their boxes of beer, and I put the top back on this bottle that I had pissed in and put it back into their crate, and sure enough, Key opened the beer. He was that drunk he didn't know it was just another bottle of beer, but he opened it up and took a mouthful of it and spat it all out, and he said, "Oh, fuck, that beer's off." Yeah, well, I got my just reward revenge on him, and we got on. I didn't tell him what I did, but I asked him what his piss was like, as you do with people who are inebriated or pissed. They think nothing of it, but I got my revenge back, and I was happy about that. The trips along, otherwise, the trips on those journeys was really exciting for me, and again, it just helped me learn and develop the skills of the game, to learn the skills of the game, to where I am now in looking at talents of the young kids today. You just had to learn the game as quickly as you could, learn all the shortcuts in terms of nous or knowledge around the game. I wasn't the biggest player in the squad, but I like to think out of everybody that's played for Wellington over that 10-year period that I was down there. I don't think there was anybody else in that squad who had more determination to succeed than I did. I was prepared to, once I got to understand the game and how it worked and the opportunities that I knew were out there for me. The opportunity that I might be able to play professional. It could take me places. Then I became totally fixated on chasing not so much a professional career, but for me it was all about trying to achieve better and better each year, trying to be in that Wellington squad, gaining trials or trying to gain selection into the New Zealand team. A New Zealand Māori side, I made it in 1975, I think it was. We played Great Britain at the Rotorua in 75, I think it was 75. And I was in those days you only had two reserves, one forward, one back. And I remember flying up to Auckland from Wellington, and I got picked up at the airport by Tom Newton, Lummy Newton. He was the coach, and he got me in the car, and as we were driving off to the motel, he said to me, "You know, son," he said, I don't think you deserve to be in this side. You're probably a little bit too young at the moment." I think I was 19. And there are other players around who probably deserve to be in this team. So, that really made my day happy. And I suppose the way in which he ran the team on the day at the Rotorua, I was the forward reserve, Eddie Orchard was the back reserve, and early in the second half, or early in the first half actually, one of the forwards got injured, and I thought, well, yes, I'm in here, but I was also aware that I may not even get on because he had already told me that I didn't deserve to be in there, Tom Newton that is, and so he ended up putting Eddie Orchard out there, and one of the other boys came off late in the second half, and I ended up getting on there for 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Not enough time to even get my bloody jersey dirty, but it turned out that we lost that game. But again, it was one of those goals that I had set in trying to be one of those elite players that hungered, I guess, for higher honours. And so from the Wellington side, the club side, and now into New Zealand Māori side, I was slowly forging a career for myself and a name for myself in the game.